Oh, hey everybody. Oh my gosh, it's time for another episode of the Boston Chris podcast. And guys, it is Gary Nicholson week here on the show. If you don't know the name Gary Nicholson, you should, if you're a music fan especially. You see, Gary Nicholson has been inducted into two, not one, but two, of the biggest honors for songwriters in the world. Number one, the Texas Heritage Songwriters Hall of Fame, and number two, the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame. Gary is a member of both. So before we get into this conversation with Gary, I want you guys to hit the like button wherever you're watching. If you want to see more in-depth, candid conversations in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button or follow button. Make sure you ring the bell for notifications. And of course, I want you guys to comment down below what your favorite part of this episode was. But let me tell you a little bit about Gary. You see, Gary Nicholson is a Hall of Fame songwriter and a Grammy winner with credits in multiple genres including country, Willie Nelson, blues, B.B. King, pop, Ringo Starr, rock, Fleetwood Mac, folk, John Prine, bluegrass, Del McCoury, Americana, Guy Clark, with over 700 recordings of his works, often in collaboration with the most iconic musical artists of our time. His songs have been featured in film as well, notably Jeff Bridges' Oscar-winning performance of Falling and Flying in Crazy Heart. Now, after a lifetime of contribution to American culture through music making, he has focused on addressing the current polarity in politics with the release of his current album, Common Sense, a 12-song collection that speaks to the divisions our country now faces with hope and humor. After coming of age through the turbulent 60s and experiencing the healing power of music to unite, Nicholson aspires to serve as well as entertain. Guys, make sure you check out more at GaryNicholsonMusic.com, which is in the description below. Without further ado, guys, we are so stoked to present this amazing conversation with the one, the only, the iconic Gary Nicholson.
Hey, this is Jamie Richards. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the Boston Chris Show.
Standing at the front door when I got home last night, a good book in her left hand and a rolling pin in her right. She said, "You come home for the last time with the whiskey on your breath. If you won't listen to my preaching, boy, I'm gonna have to beat you half to death. Give me just one more last chance before you say we're through. I know I drive you crazy, baby, it's the best that I can do. We're just some good old boys making noise, I ain't running around on you. Give me just one more last chance before you say we're through." First she took my glasses, 'cause she knows that I can't see. She said, "You ain't going nowhere, boy, till you spend a little time with me." Then the boys called from the honky-tonk, so there's a party going on down here. Well, she might have took my car key, but she forgot about my old John Deere. Give me just one more last chance before you say we're through. I know I drive you crazy, baby, it's the best that I can do. We're just some good old boys making noise, I ain't running around on you. Give me just one more last chance before you say we're through. Henry on the keyboard, y'all. Comes Jim Hope on this harp. Say we're through. I know I drive you crazy, baby. It's the best that I can do. We're just some good old boys making noise. I ain't running around on you. Give me just one more last chance before you say we're through. Just give me just one more last chance before you say we're through. Oh yeah. Before you say we're through now, baby.
Hey guys, we have a treat for y'all today. One of the most busy people in the history of music. This guy right here has done damn near everything there is to do in the music business. We have Gary Nicholson here on the show today. Gary, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man.
So Gary has, like I just said, he's literally done it all. He's been a songwriter, a performer, a publisher, a freaking producer. I mean, there's not much you haven't done in the music business, has there?
Well, I mean, golly, I started as a teenager, and I'm 75 years old, so it's like, things happen and your life goes by and you realize you've done all this stuff, but it's like it's cumulative,
Yes, all over 60 years in the business, man. It's just insane to me to think about. Still going strong, still performing all over the place at 75.
Yeah, it's my back hurts sometimes.
Imagine.
But I'm really finding a lot of joy in playing music. I've got a really great band here in Nashville, and the same thing in Austin, and players in Los Angeles too, and Chicago. But I hadn't been doing as much of that in those other cities. Pretty much Nashville and Austin now is my two places, and it's enough for me because really, I mean, I'm not drawing crowds or anything. It's enough to pay the players to come and play, and everybody has a good time, and we call it Dad's expensive hobby around here.
Yeah, refills that creative cup for you, right?
Well, if you play music, it you get to, if you're going to write the songs and make the music, it's kind of shameful not to share it,
agreed.
with people and have the fun of playing the songs, and seeing how they really work, because Guy Clark used to say it's not a song till you're playing it for people.
Yeah. Man, I'm so excited. Just to give you a little bit of context, I am just a little bit east of the DFW area, where you kind of sowed your oats, and we have a lot of mutual friends. Of course, Bubba Keith and Ricky Lynn Gregg, and so you and I share a lot of mutual friends, and I've heard a lot of stories about you. Buddy Whittington, of course. Is also a mutual friend, and I recently saw Buddy at a concert, and he plays a lot of your songs and in his live show. So
I knew he was doing Jacksboro Highway.
Yeah.
But I'm not even aware of the other songs. I saw he came out to a gig I had somewhere in Fort Worth, and I looked up and there was Buddy on the front row, and it's like, all of a sudden I'm getting nervous about my guitar playing.
I don't blame you one bit.
Yeah, he's really great.
Man, yeah, nothing like putting the pressure on you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, just for folks out there, you were born in Commerce but grew up in Garland, right?
Yeah, yeah. We lived in Farmersville until I was 7, and then we moved to Garland, and I grew up in Garland, went to South Garland High School, and then from there I went to Denton to go to school at North Texas State for a couple of years, and then I quit school and moved to Hollywood when I was 20.
Wow. So prior to moving to Hollywood, what was it like growing up in the DFW area and kind of?
It was fantastic. You know, you don't really know what it is until you get away from it. But
Sure.
like coming to Nashville, I realized that when I got, everybody thought, well, you're crazy. You're a guitar player and you're going to move to Nashville. They got 1 million guitar players there. You know, it's like, what? And then I got up here and realized that there's a regional thing about DFW. And it's really kind of to that region, considering that it's not, you know, it's different than an Austin scene, you know, because it's amazing the music, blues music especially, that's come out of DFW, because there's T-Bone Walker and you know, Blind Lemon Jefferson, you know, was there a long time ago and everything. And then, of course, my childhood hero was Freddie King,
Right.
And that's really kind of how I learned to play initially, was playing those Freddie King instrumentals before I attempted to sing or anything, you know.
Yeah, so your musical genesis was really kind of born in the blues, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's kind of where I started. I mean, before the blues thing, before I really realized that it was blues, you know, I mean, I took some guitar lessons when I was a kid, maybe 10 years old or something, and it was country music, Red River Valley, and Hang Down Your Head, Tom Dooley, and whatever the guitar teacher would show me. And then the surf music thing, you know, came with the ventures. And so if you had an electric guitar, then you're going to play surf music and Pipeline and those things.
Yeah.
You know, just that teenagers would play in their bands in the garage. And I did that until Freddie King came in. He had a hit on Hideaway in 1963. And so I was 13 then, but maybe by the time I was 14 or 15, I was really trying to play. And so Freddie had this record called Freddie King Goes Surfing. It's a bunch of blues heads that, you know, and he named them after, you know, San Jose, Hang Ten, The Stumble. All these titles have something to do with surfing. I don't think Freddie had been to California by that time, but somebody in Oak Cliff had a surfboard. He has pictures taken with it. Anyway, that's how I got started.
Would you say, like, I love how you're talking about, like, kind of, you know, evolving through these different genres, even back then, from country to surf to blues. Would you say the blues hit different for you? Like, when that came out, that just was a different level of love for you.
Yeah, it was. It took me over to the point that I became a bit of a blues snob when I was a kid, you know. The Beatles came out, and my girlfriend bought me the Meet the Beatles record, and I brought it home and called her and said, I'll bring this back to you tomorrow. These guys are lousy. They're just trying to sing like Little Richard stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, they got those silly haircuts, and there's I don't see where this is going, you know. And then
that's why you never made it in A&R, right?
well, within 6 months, I had a Beatles band with a collarless coat and the whole thing, and full bore. And then all these years go by, and I wound up writing all these songs with Ringo Starr. It's crazy. But I got into the blues heavy, but interestingly enough, myself as much as everybody else I know, we all found out about Muddy and Wolf from the Stones.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, I knew about blues that was regional around Texas and everything, but Chicago blues and that whole thing, if it hadn't been for that stuff showing up through the Stones, I don't know how you would stumble upon it later.
Yeah, it's not like the internet existed back then, and
Yeah,
the algorithm
yeah.
couldn't feed you
You
that stuff, right?
just got stuff that came through the ether somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I love that, and honestly, like I feel like Northeast Texas doesn't get enough credit for kind of helping with the blues scene. There's a lot
Well,
of
it's
fantastic artists from
amazing. I
here.
mean, over in Tyler, there was Robin Hood Bryant,
Yep.
and there was a lot more stuff, but you didn't think of it being anything when you're there.
Yeah.
When it's happening, you thought it was all rinky dink, whatever. They're not doing all this real stuff's going on in L.A. and New York and Nashville, but but I found out that there really is um, a stylistic thing about guitar players from the DFW area. I know I've got it all over me, but my friend James Pennebaker is a great, he's a great example of that style. But Anson Thunderberg's kind of our go-to hero of playing the DFW style guitar. He's
Yeah.
and of course, the Vaughn brothers were from Dallas. I was living in Garland; they were living in Oak Cliff, but there was a music store in Garland down the street from my mom's house. That's where Jimmy bought his first guitar, and that was the music store everybody went to.
Yeah, the DFW, man, they have definitely put out some good guitarists over the years. That's for sure.
Yeah. There seems like everybody was just bearing down at a young age. Everybody was kind of gunslinging guitars, and it was fun. Made you want to practice and get better.
So you mentioned that you moved out to Hollywood as a youngster, still even 20 years old. What was the impetus for that move?
Well, it's a wild story. It's really kind of dramatic what happened. I had a band. I got interested in playing some country music, and I had a band with a guy who was a great world class genius steel guitar player, Larry White. He's passed on now, but I had a band with him, and the guy played bass with me and all my bands from eighth grade talent show on around. And so we were playing this this country gig, and I was crazy about the Burrito Brothers. So the Burritos came to town, and my friend Larry showed Sneaky Pete through the MSA factory, and got to know Sneaky a little bit. So they gave us passes to come to see their show that night. So we went to see the Burritos, and we did 4 or 5 of their songs already. I thought it was the coolest thing. It was just really only them and some birds, and we would do old Everly Brothers songs and some rockabilly things, but the Burritos were kind of carrying that kind of torch. And anyway, after the gig, Graham came over to our crash pad where we had all our gear set up, and we jammed around all night, and Graham could name any song, and Larry would just kick it off like the record because he just knew everything.
Yeah,
playing that kind of music. And so Graham was so impressed with Larry that he encouraged us to move to come to LA. Anyway, a couple of weeks after that, was August of 1970 that gig was, and within a couple of weeks we got to LA, and Graham got us in the talent show at the Palomino, and we won. We resisted being in the talent show, and he said, "Hey, we're a band. We're a working band. It's not fair for us to be in this talent show." And he says, "Just do it," And we won $50 and got another case of beer in a motel room or something.
It'd be a 12-pack of eggs nowadays, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So,
Well, anyway, that's what got me to California at that juncture, and then I was around Graham a little bit after I got there, but then I didn't see him at all the last year of his life. I just
so
knew it.
one of the things I read about you is while you were in Southern California, you were part of a bluegrass folk band out there as well.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not exactly the part of the country you would think for bluegrass and folk,
Well, it's
right?
crazy. I moved to Hollywood, and right down the streets, the Grateful Dead and the whoever else was playing. But by that time, I'd already done my thing about trying to play like Eric Clapton, Cream, and Hendrix, and those kind of things that you have to play to be a guitar player on a gig in late '60s. So I met this kid, this Japanese kid, had a Martin D18 and a Doc Watson record, and I flipped out over Doc Watson, and so I just started trying to play bluegrass, and I got a little banjo player and the bass player got an upright bass, and we had a bluegrass trio. We were the White Horse Brothers,
Yeah.
and then that evolved into being Uncle Jim's Music. We named our band after the bass player's uncle, who put us up and got us, uh, you know, gave us a way to survive in California and he got us a record deal on Cap Records, which is part of MCA, and that was Uncle Jim's Music. We made two records that did not much of anything. We got some good reviews, but um, I mean, bass player's uncle was our manager, and he was an ex cop and Marine and stuff. I mean, we could have had better management, but we weren't really ready. We weren't really good enough. You know,
Yeah.
interesting thing is Don Henley played on our demos. He's the only I knew him from North Texas, and he's the only drummer I knew in Hollywood. So when we made demos, I got Don to play, and then um, this is way before he got the gig with Linda Ronstadt, and then the Eagles formed
Yeah.
before my very eyes and pretty much took over what country rock music was supposed to be at that time.
Yeah. So looking back at this period of your life, man, knowing everything that happened after this and who you became, how important do you think it was kind of cutting your teeth at this time in your life for your future self?
Well, I think it's invaluable. I mean, just to get thrown into the music business that early, and go through having a record deal, making a couple records. Our first record was produced by John Borland, who produced Ronstadt's records before Peter Asher had that great run with her. But John was really great record producer. And then our second record, Al Smith was our
Wow.
record producer. So here's the greatest engineer
Hmm.
in the world right before my very eyes. I, I wasn't as developed as I would have needed to cut through the marketplace at that time. I mean, I'm, you know, you start out and you're okay, and then you get better.
Yeah.
And,
As a, as a musician,
when I look back at that body of songs, I see it as somebody who was developing.
yeah, as a musician at that time, you got these fantastic producers around you. Are you kind of sponging that too? Because you end up a Grammy Award winning producer too. So like,
Yeah, well, I was watching that go on, but the thing is, for the second record, Jim Ed Norman joined our band, and I was so caught up in being the guy that had to come up with the songs and sing, be the lead singer and stuff, that the production part of it, the gear and what microphone's doing this, and is this the better preamp, and what about this compressor? This I wasn't paying as much attention. There I had Al Schmidt right in front of me, and I didn't even know
yeah,
that he'd already done Sam Cooke and
you know, a surrealistic pillow and everything that Al did. But Jim Ed was paying closer attention, and I think, you know, of course, he evolved into a great record producer, and he probably learned more out of that experience than I did.
Yeah, Jim Ed had a big impact on your career as well, didn't he? Kind
Well,
of.
yeah, he brought me to Nashville, but yeah, the band split up, and I wound up playing bars around LA and stuff, and then decided my wife and I got married in '73 and moved back to Texas to be close to family and get out of the smog and stuff. And by then, I had become friends with Clarence White, and he got killed in a tragic car thing, and I don't know, it just seemed like it was time to get back to Texas, and um, that's just what happened. What were we talking about?
Just the impact of Jim Ed Norman, and I mean,
Well, yeah, Jim Ed, of course, he had success as record producer and stayed in LA, and then he got a break producing Anne Murray, and then he got the gig to produce something on Mickey Gilley for the Urban Cowboy
Urban Cowboy,
soundtrack.
yeah, yeah.
And we'd kept in touch, and he asked me if I had any songs, and I had this song that was it's a crazy concept. I don't think anybody's ever done this. It's a song about two people who won't speak to each other anymore because they're arguing, but they argue by playing songs back and forth on the jukebox.
Yep.
And she plays Release Me, and he plays Stand By Your Man, and she plays Don't Be Angry, and he plays Out of Hand, and she plays Good Hearted Woman, and When Will I Be Loved, and he plays He'll Have to Go, and The Window Up Above, and she plays Jealous Heart and Suspicious Mind, and he plays Cheating Heart and Lying Eyes, and she plays I'll Get Over You, and he plays Born to Lose. It goes on and on.
Yep.
And anyway, Mickey Gilley recorded that. Jim had produced Mickey Gilley doing that for the soundtrack, and that was my foot in the door and a way to come to Nashville. And Jim Ed gave me a publishing deal to write for his company in 1980.
Yeah, and prior to that, you did mention that you ended up back in the DFW area, playing gigs and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and that was such a valuable time from 73, 74 until 80, until I moved to Nashville. I played a bunch of country gigs. Um, you know, you could always have a gig playing country music, you know.
Yeah, in
And
Texas, that's an easy thing. Yeah.
it's like a 5 night a week,
Yep.
5 sets a night kind of dance hall gig. And then in the daytime, I had a rock and roll band around the Dallas area called Hot Sauce.
Yep.
And we were, it was like a cross between the band and ZZ Top or something. You know, it's like we were more song oriented, but we rocked out as much as we could, and it was really we had really good intentions, and nothing ever happened. We never really got a record deal or anything, but I was able to make a living playing bars.
And during this time, is that when Delbert McClinton kind of came along and you guys formed a
Well,
pretty...
yeah, I met Delbert, probably played the first gigs with him because of my friend Tommy Spurlock, who I'd actually met in Los Angeles when I was still there, and then we all moved back. He was from Fort Worth, I was from Dallas area, and so anyway, it's kind of how I met Delbert and Glenn. They had that first Delbert and Glenn record, and that was the record that I just lived my life around. That record, I listened to it all the time, and that was my introduction to Delbert. And the first time I played gigs with Delbert was probably 75, 74, 75. He had made Victim of Life Circumstances record.
Yeah.
And in Nashville by then, and we're playing some of those songs, and yeah, that's how. And so I kept playing with him through the 70s, off and on. We had our first baby in '76, and I didn't want to leave town to go out with Delbert, but I'd go out with him occasionally, and then I'd come back and just stay home. And then by 78, probably was the last time before I went out on a little tour with him until I moved to Nashville in 80. And then he moved to Nashville maybe 87 or something,
Yeah.
Something like
And
that.
you guys he ended up cutting 35 plus songs.
Yeah, he moved to Nashville and we started writing a lot of songs together. And we had he got a deal with this new label that was started called Rising Tide.
Yep.
And Emery Gordy was going to produce, and I wrote every song on the record with Delbert, or there are 3 songs that I'd written with other people or something. And so Emery had me be the co-producer because we did all the work tapes together. And so I got to co-produce that first Delbert record, called One of the Fortunate Few, co-production with Emery Gordy, who's the most qualified record producer I've ever known.
Yeah, he was incredible. Yeah, indeed. As a fan of yours and of music in general, man, it's just, you're so interesting to me because of the wide array of genres that you have been associated with throughout your career. What do you attribute that to? You just like bored with music? Not necessarily bored, but like, why the different genres? Because usually, like, a writer will stick to country or stick to rock, stick to pop, but you're playing and writing and producing music from all genres. Why do you think that is?
I think it's probably from having played on the bandstand, all different kinds of stuff, just to make a living as a musician, as a guitar player or whatever. I was never like a jazz player or anything, but
just wanting to be ready for whatever a venue asks of you.
Yeah, and the thing is, what's coming, for me is that the songs really dictate what the style is.
True.
The idea of the song kind of tells you what it's going to be, and it's interesting and a lot of my songwriting activity has been in collaboration with people who are making records, need songs for their records. I'm either producing it or they're just going to make a record and need to write some songs. And so the collaboration, I think, is what led me a lot to having a diversity of genres.
Yeah, I find that interesting. So essentially the reason for that is so you can make a living being a musician. So you want to be able to have every genre, every style in your toolbox. But because of that, as a musician, you become very malleable as a writer and a producer as well, being able to adjust to different collaborators. That's pretty much, you can draw a straight line from those two things, can't you?
Yeah, it's like, for me, and I'm saying that I'll be a musical chameleon.
Yeah.
Of sorts, just to, the difference between, writing a song with John Prine or writing a song with James Cotton,
Yeah.
It's wild. But it's, it's all in the songs are dictating, what it's going to be.
It's pretty important to be in tune with an audience too, isn't it? To know what the audiences are enjoying from a live standpoint. Does that help you from a writing and producing standpoint as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's, if you hadn't played dances, or you hadn't played nightclubs, been on a bandstand, and seeing how people react to rhythm, it has everything to do with it, I think. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to be a record producer and all that, but I think just knowing where the pocket is, or where the groove, and how the rhythm of the words really affects everything
Yeah.
about the feel. And I what was I trying to say? I forgot.
I'll get you back on track. Let me
Yeah.
throw some flowers at you, man. In my opinion, I think you're by far one of the best songwriters of our generation. The two of the most prestigious Hall of Fames, the Texas Heritage Songwriters Hall of Fame and the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame. You have been inducted to both of those. And so we're talking, probably what, 60, 55, 60 years since you wrote your first song. Talk about kind of the evolution process to go from a musician and a really passionate musician, a live touring musician, and then starting to write songs, and then over time becoming better and better at that. What was that like for you as an evolution process?
I think the biggest thing for me before I moved to Nashville, I'd written records for my band in California and that, and then I was trying to write songs to have a rock and roll band around Dallas and all that. But moving to Nashville and having this gig as a staff writer and realizing that there are guys that get up in the morning, drink their coffee, and go to work and write songs all day long.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's a gig, and to have that discipline of and the pressure of it too. I think it's like I had 4 kids to support, and I need to write a hit.
Yeah.
It's just and so I think a lot of that also being exposed to all this community of all these amazing songwriters that were already here when I got here.
Yeah.
That maybe it's because Jim Ed was my publisher and they knew he was making records, and maybe to co-write with me would be a chance to get on record or something. But anyway, I was able to fall into a pile of incredible songwriters that the collaborative thing, you catch on to kind of the way it's done, and by doing a lot of it, it stretches you out to be able to be adaptable to take ideas and kind of figure out the way they probably ought to go,
So you're taking little tidbits from these other writers that you're fortunate enough to write with. I just want to name a few names: people like Bobby Braddock, Harlan Howard, Keith Whitley, Don Cook, just to name a few. Are you taking tidbits from these folks and kind of trying to identify what your own weaknesses are and shoring them up through their mentorship?
Well, it was never anything that you thought about. It was never really anything intentional to say, I want to learn from this guy or it's just in the doing of it. You experience what everybody else's approach is, and it's just in the doing of it that you get better at it. And just realizing that a lot of these songwriters, I mean, they're everywhere here, but songwriters are just, you can have a skill set and everything, but everybody's just at the mercy of a great idea,
Yeah. What a great way of putting it, man.
It's just really it. I mean, it's until you got something to say, then you can have all the chops you want.
Yeah.
There's no way to use them.
Gary, for you personally, where do those great ideas come from? Are they more lyrical or melodic or what?
It's all coming from the good place, the intuitive left brain thing, whatever it is that where ideas come from. But I think it has to, as far as on the songwriting, aspect of it is to keep your ears open for. It's just become a habit to hear a phrase spoken in a movie or just in conversation or somebody will say something and oh well that's obviously a song.
Yeah.
There's a song in that or an experience or a situation that someone's going through. I've been happily married for 52 years, so um, a lot of vicarious divorce songs,
Yeah.
country music situations.
Because you've never lived that yourself, so you have to live
Yeah,
vicariously with
but
that.
my parents were divorced when I was a kid. My
Yeah.
parents were divorced when I was 10 or 12, and so anyway, I got plenty of that. But it's as far as the development part of it for me, um, I can see it happening through this 45 years now that I've been in Nashville, and you learn from every co-write,
Yeah.
and it might be that you learn more from somebody that's not the person you think you would learn from. But I did get to write a number of songs with Guy Clark, who I consider to be. I played guitar with Guy for the first 3 years I lived in Nashville, and um, those songs were so incredible that I was scared I was going to play some trick lick on the guitar and cover up, draw somebody's attention away from the song or something. It's like Guy was incredible.
Yeah.
Just being around that level of artistry was amazing, and then on the other side of it, there are a lot of guys that were really great commercial. Please let me on the radio kind of
Yep.
songwriters that I was around at the same time. You know, and Guy understood that I was trying to make a living from songwriting. He was trying to be an artist from songwriting.
Yep.
And I I had my
Boy, there's
Mickey.
a worlds of difference between those,
Yeah,
isn't there?
yeah. I mean, we could be going down the road with Guy, and one of my songs would come on the radio, and I wouldn't even say anything about it being my song. I didn't want him to know that it was a Mickey Gilley song. Hey, there, that's my song, and he's and you're playing Let 'Em Roll with him every night,
Yeah.
whatever. So,
Incredible stuff, man.
yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about. You did mention it before we started rolling, the 30th anniversary of John Prine and stuff that you guys did together. What was that collaboration and that relationship like for you with John?
Man, it was such a magical thing. I just wrote a short story about it because I had to just get it on paper. What happened it was while I had met John just to say hi and you're amazing, John Prine. Just thrilled to meet him, and then we had a few common friends, this and that and the other. And my son was working at the movie theater, and I'd been listening to Missing Years, taking my son back and forth to basketball practice, and he recognized John. He said, "Hey, my dad's been listening to your record a lot, and my dad's a songwriter too." And John said, "Oh, that's great. What's his name?" And he said my name, and John said, "Oh yeah, I know him." And my son handed his popcorn, and he says, "You should be writing songs with my dad."
Wow.
And so John walked into the theater and says, "I'll give him a call." And it's the next day, John calls me and said, "I met your son at the movie theater." He said, "We probably ought to be writing songs together." And he came over, and it was the most incredible thing. He'd show up with a 6-pack of Cokes and a bunch of cigarettes. He was smoking cigarettes still in those days. And I'm telling you all this because I just wrote the story, so it's off the top of my head. But
Sure.
the smoke would go in the air conditioning system all through the house, and my wife would be saying, "Can't you get him to go outside and smoke?" I said,
It's John
"Hey,
Prine.
it's all cold out there, and he's John Prine." And
Yeah,
it
exactly.
was like, I would have started smoking to myself to keep him coming back to the house.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, we
So can we
were.
talk about the fact that your son is the greatest wingman in the history of music? I mean,
Well, the great thing is John gave him credit on the album credits. He said special thanks to Nathan Nicholson for telling me to write with his dad.
awesome
And,
stuff. That's
yeah,
great stuff, man.
and John was just, man, well, just amazing. It was so easy because all we had to do was, when it started coming out of John's mouth, whatever as soon as he started singing it and liking it and making it a song, well, then all of a sudden it's turned into a John Prine song. And I'm just thrilled to death to be there, and, to think that I'm going to throw out a line that John's going to like, and I'm feeling like, wow, he actually likes
Your
my
ideas.
my little lyric idea or whatever it would be, but the songs are so completely Prine
Yeah.
that there's 6 songs on there, and to me, they're unique to being John. I haven't written other songs that are like that, and
So
that,
it's going to be pretty surreal. Like your whole career, you're ending up in rooms with people that were heroes of yours and people that you looked
yeah,
up to. Delbert McClinton and Jim Ed Norman and John Prine and Guy Clark and all these folks. Through the unbelievableness, the surrealness, is there ever a time where you finally feel like you belong in the same room with them folks?
well, on some level, I think you gotta pretend, or you gotta be able to just,
Fake it till you make it?
yeah, it's kind of like it's probably one of the most strange things is like writing with Ringo because he's a Beatle and you're there and it's like he's like the most famous guy in the world, I guess. But if you can get past the all that and just get into the work of the writing of the songs and getting to be creative together with somebody, then all that goes away and you kind of get to just be doing the work together, and because you're doing that kind of work together, you get to be friends, and it's okay,
Yeah.
I got to be pals with Leon Russell after he moved here, um, and he was just a great guy to be around and hang out and talk to on the phone or whatever,
Yeah.
and you had to, I don't know, and he was such a cool guy that I never felt like, oh my God, he was in Bangladesh or whatever it was, and oh God, look at him, um, he was such a powerful force. That first solo record that he made, and then knowing all his history with the Wrecking Crew and everything, it's like, um, but yeah, I've been really fortunate to be around some heroes and some guys that I didn't even know what heroes they were
Yeah.
at the time, and then they became, uh, you know, that's kind of the way it was with Guy and Townsend and with Billy Joe. It's um, they just seem to get more larger than life all the time
Yeah.
it's because of the song, it's because of the work. It's I mean, there's a degree of excellence in all that stuff that It's
Yeah, and
so
I imagine you're not going to do a very good job creatively if you're tripping over your tongue, right?
yeah, yeah. I guess you got to be. Yeah, I saw somebody the other day. I said, yeah, I was always trying to keep from doing a total Chris Farley on Ringo about, yeah, what was it like at the
Yeah,
at Zelda?
yeah, yeah.
When you hit the cymbal crash at the end of that, whatever,
Chris
uh,
Farley's a good
yeah,
metaphor for
I
that. Yeah.
never, I made an effort to never talk about Beatles stuff with Ringo, and because if he brought it up, then it was cool. But
Yep.
I just, and I think because of that, he actually brought it up and gave me some great stories
Hmm.
that I would have probably
That's
looked like.
actually a really cool tool as an interviewer. The things you want to talk about the most, never talk about them. And
Yeah,
it's so funny how that works, man. Honestly, like,
yeah,
it works so well. You just go where the guest goes, or where whoever you're talking to goes, and talk about what they want to talk about. Here's a couple of questions that you might not be able to answer. You talked about your songs being your babies earlier. What's your favorite baby? What's the favorite song you've ever written?
um, the one I hadn't written yet. Obviously, that's supposed to be the answer to that.
Yeah,
The next one,
the next one. Yep.
yeah. But as a part of this Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame thing, they tell you to have one song that's on a brick that's down on Music Row. They have all these, have the songwriter's name that's in the Hall of Fame, and then they have one song that is identified with that writer. And so for me, I chose The Trouble with the Truth because I felt like it was one of the best songs I ever wrote, and it was solo written, and Patty Loveless had a bit of a hit. It probably just barely got inside the top 10, but it was the title of her record, and it's one of those songs that a long time ago I felt like it was as good a song as I could write at the time, and
Yeah.
it still holds up. So I mean, if I had to name one, I guess that's what it was at the time. But
Well,
since
we are
then,
very close. My favorite Gary Nicholson song is "1,000 Times a Day." So very, very
oh
close.
wow,
Yeah.
wow, that's great. Yeah, I love that song so much. That's the first song that was written in this house that I'm in now.
Really?
Yeah, that's a co-write with Gary Burr,
Yep.
and they were building this studio that I'm in now, which used to be a garage. They were hammering and nailing in here, and so we went upstairs that day and um, wrote that song then. And I love Patty's record of it, and George Jones' version of it.
Hmm.
It's just so great to hear
Just
George.
two iconic voices, right? Just
Yeah,
yeah.
it's really fantastic.
So I
Um,
loved George's version of it, but like Patty just brought a soulfulness to that song.
oh
Like,
yeah,
you know?
and Emery's production, but yeah, I just figured out, Buddy Cannon and the fellow that he used to co-produce with, that I'm not being able to call his name, they produced that George Jones record.
Yeah, Buddy
Uh,
Cannon's been on this show, so yeah,
yeah,
you and he are very much alike in that you guys have done damn near everything in the business,
yeah. When I came here, I think he maybe was still playing bass with Tillis.
Yeah.
Um, um, but yeah, we've been around each other all this time. He's recorded a number of my songs on various artists, and we've tried to write together a few times. Not really anything of anything, but the cool thing he did, I wrote this song the day that Haggard passed, and it's called "He Won't Ever Be Gone," and it names a bunch of Merle's songs and stuff, and I wrote the song the day that Haggard passed, and I emailed it to Willie Nelson, and he said, "Send it to Buddy. I'll cut it."
Wow.
And I sent it to Buddy, and he had me come and sing the scratch vocal when they recorded it, and it was really a great experience.
Wow.
Because it
Yeah.
was, Willie singing about Merle, and anyway, Buddy's really a skilled record producer,
Incredible.
and
Yeah.
really intuitive and organic and song based, and he's so smart and so much a regular guy. It's funny. I I was with him, and he was playing me something. Maybe it's the Willie record, and I said, "Man, Willie's voice, Buddy. Man, Willie's voice really sounds great on that." I said, "What microphone are you using on him?" And he says, "Oh, it was either that brown one or that black one."
Yep. That sounds like Buddy.
Yeah,
Yep.
no mention of a 414 or U87.
Yeah, that's like giving away your favorite fishing spot, right?
Yeah.
Kind of in the same vein, you may not answer this one or give me a PC answer, but who was your favorite co-writer?
Oh, God.
It's got to be tough to choose one, right?
Yeah, I mean, because of, I think, Delbert's just, I might as well just admit it, that Delbert's just my best friend. We talk to each other every day. And there was a period of time, we don't really write songs anymore for whatever reason I can't understand, but there was a period of time when we wrote so many songs together, and it's that little bag of work I'm so proud of those songs and those records we made together. It was like because Delbert was my hero, I mean, I just, I see him as one of the greatest purveyors of rock and roll music ever.
Yeah, his name doesn't get mentioned enough, for sure.
Yeah, he grew up in West Texas, and he had country music in his blood, but by the time he started backing up all the black acts, the blues artists that would come through Fort Worth, his various bands when he was a teenager, he had all that. So he had the country and blues stuck together, and his singing is just outrageously great. His phrasing and the energy and everything about Delbert's artistry just blew me away. So I mean, but at the same time, it's like the experience of writing with Guy Clark. I mean, how you going to pick a favorite songwriter? But Guy had a certain way of going at it that was very deliberate, and he'd hate to say craftsman-like. There's somebody titled a record of his a craftsman, and he thought, I'm not a craftsman, I'm an artist, But anyway, he's great. There's so many great writers. In recent history, I've really enjoyed writing some with Sean Camp.
Incredible writer, yeah. Oh my goodness,
I love Sean's music making. He's great.
Great songwriter. I feel like I've been very blessed to have talked to hundreds of songwriters on this show, and there's to me, as a fan of music, there's two different sides of the creative process. There's the actual writing of the song, and then there's the recording of the song, and you've been real prominent in both sides of that. So first of all, when did you start really getting involved in producing? Was that with Delbert McClinton?
Yeah, really.
So really, you were doing both sides of the creative process with Delbert early on, the songwriting and the producing, right?
Yeah, and I think because of Emery including me as a producer on that first record, then when Emery was out of the picture and we were writing all the songs together anyway, and you know, um, it just seemed like a very natural way to go at producing records. I'm not a guy that is going to dictate what everybody plays and program drums and one of those kind of. I'm the kind of guy that, as a record producer, I'm interested in putting people together that are going to interact with each other
Yeah.
and be song supportive
It's
in
about the
their.
marriage process, really, right? Like just marrying the right people together.
Yeah, and yeah, it's the casting is really everything,
Yeah.
and in this town, you've got all the greatest musicians on earth, and you know what everybody can do, and you know how somebody's really gonna react
Mm-hmm.
on a session after having done a bunch of demos with various players and getting to know what everybody's um, style is and strengths. So if you know who to call, you can pretty much know that they're going to bring. Um, if you let the musicians loose, they're going to show you the way it ought to go.
It's just
And if
about knowing what tools you have in your toolbox, right?
yeah, and I mean, you got to know that you you can trust your own plans and instincts going into making a record, but I think it's a valuable thing to be able to put real talented people together and encourage them to express themselves in the music making and try to, the last thing you want is a musician on a session that you put a chart in front of them and play a demo and it's got the part you want him to play
Yeah.
on it. I hate that.
Yep.
So
So
yeah, I don't think of myself as. I mean, I've learned to be a record producer by the doing of an outrageous amount of demos, and then playing enough sessions and being around enough sessions and music making and studio. Everybody just comes to the same logical conclusions
mhm.
mostly.
Yeah.
You know,
Just it's just by doing every part of it, right? And then I mean you're just learning
yeah,
every part of it.
yeah. It's like um, the thing is, there are times when you know you're the producer, and so um, maybe you know not everybody agrees with you, but you're the decider,
Hmm.
and you're the guy that gets to say that's a really good idea, but we're going to use my idea
Yeah,
because
honesty is important, isn't it? Like you have to be
yeah,
willing to be the good guy and the bad guy, right?
yeah. I mean, bad guy doesn't come up very often,
That's
but occasionally it's just. But the thing is, all these incredible players that played a million sessions,
yeah.
and they know
Hmm.
it's the unwritten rule that they're there to serve, and the producer's there to serve too. Everybody's after the same thing.
Sure.
Sometimes, it's a valuable thing to have all these people that are not only ridiculously talented uh, instrumentalists, but they also are, some of the most musically intuitive people on the planet, because they've been interpreting songs, their whole
Yeah.
lives,
Yeah.
and they're not gonna do anything stupid, you know.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the now. We've talked a lot about the past. Let's talk about the
Sure.
current record for you, which I absolutely love. It's called Common Sense. Tell us kind of the reason behind the producing and putting this out. With you as the artist on it, which I love, by the way. Why is this record important to you?
Well, it's my life was sort of taken over, my creative life Um, unfortunately, the first Trump era, I reacted to that by writing a record called The Great Divide because my brother-in-law's on the other side, and just everything about that. So I had songs like God Help America and Immigrant Nation and The Great Divide and Trickle Down, and those songs were on that. So this Common Sense record came about. Um, I wrote the song Common Sense, and it's just talking about what's going on, and trying to tell the truth. And so all the songs began to relate to each other in that way, the truth about a lie, and we don't talk about it, being the situation I described about, you know, um, you don't, you're a holiday dinner and you don't talk to each other, and nobody mentions this, that, or the other,
Hmm.
because you can't even turn on the television with a certain relative in the room because it's going to spark, all
Yep.
the stuff. And um, so I just kind of stuck to my ways about making this record be, I mean, as when I try to put myself in the role of being a recording artist, I guess it's an artist's responsibility or whatever to reflect what's going on in the culture, and that's the way it hits me, and I wrote a bunch of songs about it, and I'm kind of tired of doing it actually
I
because
understand.
there's not a
Yeah.
damn thing any of us can do
It's
except.
de-energizing, isn't it? It's just,
Well, it's yeah, it becomes just kind of like, okay, been there, done that. Everybody knows I'm a communist or whatever they want to call me. You know?
socialist. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know. Been
yeah.
there, done that.
Somebody's telling you, "Are you a socialist?" It's like nobody's anything. It's like we're all just trying to do the right thing
Hmm.
for each other, and that's the thing about it. It should be common sense that um, if you're going hunting, you're going to need a gun. And, if you're going to church or school, you shouldn't need one.
Hmm.
If he's acting crazy and
Yep.
talking real mean, don't let him go buy an AR-15. It's that's the common sense part of it,
Yep.
and that's what's built into all those songs on that record. The last song that I wrote for the record is um, um,
There's no them.
"There's No Them."
Yeah.
So that's kind of capsulizes what I really feel. I mean, if if we could get that across, but we're so polarized now that uh, I don't I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I'm finding the reaction to this record is really great though. I don't get anybody really really wanting to be mad at me for having made these statements because it's the songs. If there can be enough humor in it, that it kind of.
Well, not just humor, Gary, but honesty, right? It's hard. It's really hard for people on both sides of a divide to demonize something when they know it's honest. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
and even if they don't like what's honest about it, you can't, you can't, you know, demonize it because you know it's still the truth.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
what's hard about it.
yeah, yeah. That's the truth about a lie.
Yep.
It's gonna expose itself. Um, I'm just as puzzled as anybody else about just how we got in this
Hmm.
situation with this cast of characters that we have in our government now. It's like I'm hopeful that I got to do an event with Cory Booker recently at a place here, Harkin Hall. He did a fundraiser where everybody paid a lot of money to come and meet him and talk to him and stuff. And so I played the song "Truth About a Lie," and for him, and then standing right in front of him and looking him in the eye, I played "Make Good Trouble," and got to see him react to every line of that song, and it was really a fun thing to do. And so I would go and do anything to support him or anybody else that's trying to resist. I'm totally into there's a song on the record called it's Bob Dylan, Whiskey, about me trying to write a song that I wish he would write, because he doesn't write those kind of songs anymore.
Yeah.
And we really need them.
Yeah.
Now, and that's what.
It's funny you mentioned that, because like the record itself, Common Sense, the entire thing as a whole, very much reminds me of the 70s era protests, because again, the polarity was so strong then as is now. There's a lot of similarities between the music from then, from certain folks, and you mentioned some of them earlier, being in California, and the Byrds and some others from that era that were writing some of these songs. It just reminds me of that kind of stuff. When you were writing it, were you drawing from that? Because you did have that experience.
Yeah, I'm sure that that's where a lot of it is coming from, and it's like it's reflected in that Bob Dylan Whiskey song. But,
sure, yeah.
I just, it was intentional, and it on some level, I think writing that record I was just trying to write the music I wanted to hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand. I'm definitely going to put a link in the description below for folks to get themselves a copy of that record, or even a digital download. Stream the record. Just make sure you guys listen. Go out there and consume the record. I think you guys will love it. Super stoked to have Gary here. Gary, I have some fun segments that we like to do with our artists that we kind of put out as little short segments before the full thing comes out. And I think you'll enjoy these. And here we go. The first one is called Did You Know? Is there something that folks out there may not know about you?
Yeah, the rock band, the Nazz.
Okay, yeah.
Rod Rundgren's band in the late 60s.
Yep.
I played with them for 3 or 4 months in late 69. And I saw them play because I was a security guy at the Texas International Pop Festival. I knew the guy Angus Wynn that was putting the festival on, and he had heard me play around town or whatever. And so he gave me this gig where I wore a shirt and acted like I was a security guy for that thing, and just kind of really just got to fuck around backstage and
that's
and
amazing.
Wanted to do, but I heard the Nazz, and then miraculously they came into this club. I was subbing for a guy, and he had all this fancy gear. He had a Marshall stack and a triple pickup black Les Paul, and they told me, hey, dress up and wear some bell bottoms and high heel boots or whatever for this gig, because their manager had a hookup to get them this great gig in Vegas, and I only played with them that one night, but that's the night that the Nazz came in and their guitar player had freaked out on acid or something, and they
needed you.
Guitar player, so
yeah,
so got to be in the Nazz for a few months, and I met Todd Rundgren later because he was in Ringo's all-star band, and I told him, hey, I was in your band. He says, hey, you're the guy that did all that stuff I got blamed for in Dallas.
Yeah, that's great. All right, next one's called Mount Rushmore. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of songwriting? The best 4 songwriters, in your opinion?
John Prine, Guy Clark, Randy Newman, and Cole Porter.
Good stuff. All right, next one is called What the Heck? These are 5 rapid-fire questions, and just tell me the first thing that hits your brain. Do not change your mind. Whatever you think first, let us know what it is. Number 1, do you have a song with a person's name in the title?
Yes.
Okay. What
you
was
want me
it?
to tell you the name
Yeah,
of it?
what was it? Yeah.
Little.
Just trying to remember the name.
Yeah, it's a takeoff on Linda Lou, and it's Little Sister Lynn. Well, yeah, that was like it's because you know the song Linda Lou.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm thinking if there's another song with a person's name in the title. I'm not thinking of that.
Over 700 published songs. I don't think you're going to be able to think of all of them, right?
Yeah, well, there's somebody's name, but Linda Lou's little sister Lil. She's the sister that will. Anyway, that's the as far as having a song with a name in it, that's probably what that is.
All right, number 2. All right, so you can choose one of these 2 things. Would you rather have to read aloud everything that you read, or sing everything you have to say aloud?
I'm not sure I get it.
All right, so in other words, if you're reading something, you have to say it out loud. Or if you say something, you have to sing it.
Yeah.
Which one would you rather do?
I think I'd rather read it out loud than to
have to sing everything?
Sing everything, yeah.
All right, number 3. Have you ever lost your glasses while they were still on your face?
No, but I've spent some time looking for my phone while I was talking on it.
I've used no lie. I have used the flashlight on my phone to try to find my phone.
Yeah.
That is absolutely the truth.
That's a really good one. Really good one.
Yeah. All right. That's unfortunately true. All right. Number 4. Who would you say is your hero today?
My hero today. My hero today. And like a musical hero or just a hero like
just whatever comes to mind. Either one.
Like Jimmy Carter? Or but Jimmy's passed, so Barack Obama.
Okay. That's a good answer.
Hero, you know.
Yeah, I like that. All right.
But I mean, the hero of all time is Paramahansa Yogananda.
Okay.
That's my
good stuff. All right, last one. Number 5. If you wrote a book, what would it be about?
Well, I'm writing a book, and I've written maybe 35 stories or so, and it's called Guitar Memoir, and it's every guitar is related to the story, a story that's like I've got a 1915 Gibson guitar, and that's the year my dad was born, and that opened the story of my granddad.
Wow.
And maybe a guitar that I was playing. I've got an amazing 56 Telecaster that Waylon Jennings gave me, and there's a story about Waylon, you know.
Good stuff. When do you think the book might be out?
That's a tough one. I've been really lazy about
lazy.
I did a lot. It started during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I got a good run going at it. And Country Music Hall of Fame said they would publish it and stuff, but it's hard.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Well, you're a busy guy, man. I wouldn't call that lazy.
I'm going to keep trying. You know, but I have thought about Whitey Johnson having some as if Whitey Johnson as a blues musician was also a private detective,
Hmm.
you know,
I like
and
that. So like a novel.
yeah, it'd
Yeah.
be
I,
fun.
I not too many people know this, but I have started writing a novel myself, and
Wow,
it's called "Tell Lisa Marie I Love Her."
wow,
And basically, the gist of it is, and the only reason why I'm saying this is because it has a private detective in it as well. Basically, the gist of it is the private detective is living in post Katrina New Orleans, and he runs into a guy that gets shot in an alley, and the guy that's shot in the alley is Elvis Presley. So
wow,
Elvis faked his death, and then the people that he was faking his death to get away from ended up catching up to him 30, 40 years later. And so the last thing this guy says with the private detective holding him as he dies is tell Lisa Marie I love her.
wow.
Yeah.
That's great, man.
Yeah, I'm working on it. We'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
you talk about lazy. I haven't written a word in that in probably 4 years.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So you
So
know what
we're in
I'm
the
talking
same
about.
boat. Yeah, that's right. All right, next segment is called One Artist. Who is one artist you wish the entire world knew about?
Myself,
As an
obviously.
artist, or like Whitey,
Yeah.
or what? Gary or
Yeah.
Whitey?
That's not really the answer I should give.
Uh,
But
well, let's
but
say other than yourself then.
other than myself, an artist that I think, well, you know, this is not really the right way to answer this, but when Jesse Winchester was still alive, I would just tell everybody about Jesse Winchester.
There you go.
And it was frustrating to me that I just thought he's just one of the greatest songwriter. I should put him on. Yeah, take somebody off that Mount Rushmore thing and put Jesse on
Okay.
there.
All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we'll give
But
Jesse this segment. We'll just give him this segment, one artist, and
yeah,
all
absolutely.
right, good stuff. All right, my next segment is called "Fly on the Wall," which is funny because I have one buzzing around me. Um, what room would you have loved to have been a fly on the wall for?
Well, it'd be great. You see McCartney talking about he and John writing those songs at that little house, and I went on the Magical Mystery Tour in Liverpool one time. They drive you by the house that they wrote all those songs in, and yeah, that'd be pretty great.
Yeah, that's a good answer. The
Yeah,
Lennon McCartney catalog is ridiculous. Um,
yeah.
all right, what is the biggest lesson you've learned directly from music? Do you think?
Um, I think the greatest thing I've learned about music and songwriting and all of it, and really all of art is that if there's any way that we can come across any means of having a glimpse into the oneness of our true nature as you know music will point you at your soul nature, and underneath all the differences and the craziness of the world and the fact that we make war still, and it's like,
Doesn't make
but
sense, does it?
nothing makes sense, and music and the arts give you a way to look beyond that and see we really are
Yep.
there's a oneness underneath all of it that if we can just get better at recognizing it, you
Yep.
know.
Completely agreed, man. All right, next one is called Moment of Gravity. Can you look back at your life and kind of see a moment in time that kind of led you on the path to where you ended up? Do you know what that moment was or event?
Well, the most obvious thing would be, professionally, it would be, you know, moving to Nashville. That's as far as the professional thing, and as far as on a personal level, um, meeting or being initiated into the path of Yogananda became my guru in 1975. I was initiated into Self-Realization Fellowship, and my wife and I have been involved in that always, and it's
50
probably
years, man. That's a long time.
the most meaningful thing, as far as the deep down
Yeah.
stuff.
That leads me very good into my next segment, which is called Grateful. What are the 3 things you're most grateful for?
Well, first of all, the fact that I was able to meet my wife at such a young age. I mean, we met when first semester of college at North Texas. We were 18. We met in the botany lab,
Wow.
looking at the flowers, and then we were married by 73. So, and then um, and then by 75, you know, um, our guru came into our lives, and then from then on, it's all the peak experiences are related to the birth of children.
Yeah.
Every time a child came along, well, then that's the newest, greatest thing that ever happened.
Man, I love your answers, man. They're so organic, so obviously true, and just makes all the sense in the world. All right, last segment could be the hardest one for you to answer. Somehow I don't think it will be, but it's called Who Do You Think You Are? Who is Gary Nicholson?
Yeah. Well, I'm still trying to discover that, obviously. Um, you know, but just trying to look at it objectively, I just see myself as a a guy that was willing to do the work, and I've been so fortunate to have so many opportunities put in front of me, and I mean, on some level, I think all the music business, it's a hustle in some way or another.
It sure is. Yeah.
Pitching a song, or you're trying to get the gig at the wherever, and um, I've um, for whatever reason I've been willing to keep charging at it.
Yep, I love that. Guys, it's Gary Nicholson for the first time here on the Boston Chris podcast. Gary, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time. I know this didn't work out last week. It did this week, and I appreciate you working with me on all of it.
Oh yeah, it's all good, man. I'm really enjoying talking to you.
Perfect. And I just want to let you guys know down there in the description, there is a link not only for the new record, which is called Common Sense once again. We're also going to put a link down there to the website, which is GaryNicholsonMusic.com, all spelled out. And you guys can get access to his social medias through there. There's also a section in there on the alter ego, which we did not get to speak about today, Whitey Johnson. And there's tour dates on there. Yeah, Gary is still playing live, and pretty often as well, I might add, all over Tennessee and Texas for the most part, but other parts of the country as well. So you guys make sure you're checking out the website. You can get his complete discography there too, which includes all the great songs he's written for, you won't believe it, just a who's who list of folks. I can't even begin. It's just a remarkable career, man. Do you take time to reflect on everything you've done?
Well, that's what's going on today. I mean, that's what we're doing, and it comes up as a process of promoting this record, and talking about the record and some of my history and stuff. I just look at it objectively as I can, and just outrageous amount of gratitude.
Yeah.
You know, just for it.
And I just got to let folks know, Gary thought he was coming on today to talk about John Prine. And, yeah, he was coming on to talk about Gary Nicholson.
That's funny.
Hi there, everybody. My name is Paul Middleton. My nickname is Pappy. For a lot of years, I used to have pigtails there. You're tuned in to Boston Chris's show.
It's time to jam.